Welcome to more adventures of Bud Newpole with Part 4 of Telepathically Bankrupt. In our last installment, we were introduced to Professor Robert Bowling Jr., the son of the inventor of the Presto log. Bud then explained interdimensional planetary mechanics and the key concept of 19.5 degrees as it relates to planetary spherical geometry. Then Bud announced they would be deploying the energy transverter on the Mauna Loa volcano in Hawaii. Bud was sleeping on the couch in front of the buck stove, so I tried to be quiet as I put another Presto log on the fire. The door squeaked, and Bud opened his eyes as I closed the latch. "I feel wonderful," Bud exclaimed as he sat up on the couch, stretching and yawning. "Oh, I believe the virus is almost gone." "I got the coffee brewing," I informed him. "Excellent," Bud exclaimed. "I think another treatment of that brown medicine this morning, and I'll be cured." I poured Bud a cup of coffee and handed him a shot of Jack Daniels. We sat sipping our beverages as the sun peeked up over the hill across the valley. The plans had been laid out yesterday. The professor was out getting supplies and equipment. Bud and I were to meet him at the spaceship later that morning. We would take the spaceship to Hawaii, and there Bud and the professor would install the energy transverter. I was still unclear exactly what the energy transverter would do and how it was to be deployed. Bud seemed lost in thought, so I broke the silence to see if I could get a better understanding of what we were going to do. "What is it about 19.5 degrees that makes it so special?" I asked Bud. "It is a planetary energy vortex," Bud explained. "Of course," I thought. "If you do some research, James, you will discover the emphasis on 19.5 degrees can be found throughout your ancient structures like Stonehenge, the Giza Pyramids, and the pyramids in Mexico, just to mention a few. In fact," Bud said, pointing his finger in the air, "NASA is right now planning the Mars Pathfinder mission, which will land on Mars at exactly and precisely 19.5 degrees latitude." "You mean NASA is aware of this phenomenon?" I said incredulously. "Exactly and precisely," Bud responded. "Perhaps you remember the news this past spring, James. Mauna Loa was erupting for several weeks. That makes conditions perfect for deploying the energy transverter." "How is the energy transverter supposed to help create a new world?" I inquired. "Well, you see, Bud paused and searched his mind to find the right words before continuing. The 19.5 degree location is the site of a powerful energy vortex. The transverter will help channel the vortex energy into your planetary grid system." Bud took another sip of his medicine. "What's the planetary grid system?" I thought to myself. "The planetary grid system is like the Earth's central nervous system," Bud said. He must have been reading my thoughts. "So this device will change the planetary grid system?" I asked for clarification. "Exactly and precisely." Bud was unusually animated. "Why do you want to charge the grid?" I wanted to know. "Elementary, my dear James." Bud was clearly enjoying himself. "You see, the more energy contained in the grid, the greater the chance that the planet will branch to a higher vibration when the branching point arrives. When does this branching point get here? I wondered. Not for a few more years, Bud went on. It will occur with the Great Galactic Alignment in late December of 2012. I felt a shiver run up my spine when Bud said that. This all sounded so outrageous, yet it was ringing true in a part of me. I felt conflicted and couldn't decide if I should believe Bud or just take him back to his spaceship and say goodbye forever. What's the big deal about this great galactic alignment anyway? I wanted to know. Well, James, you can look at it as a particular alignment of celestial bodies, but I like to think of it as a wave that pulses through the universe. Bud tried to make it clearer. The wave is approaching, and when it passes, the Earth will have a chance to absorb enough energy to raise its vibration level. Bud explained. That is why we must get the energy transverter deployed now, so the energy has time to work its way throughout the entire planetary grid. Bud told me, we want the new branch of Earth to be on a higher vibration. He went on to explain the details of deploying his energy transverter. It must be exactly and precisely placed inside the volcano and activated so that it can link into the vortex energy. How are we going to do that? I asked, knowing he was going to have an explanation. You will soon see, Bud said. I have my spaceship specially equipped to handle the job, providing Professor Bowling is able to acquire the things I need to make my adjustments. I guess we better get going if we are supposed to meet Professor Bowling at the spaceship, I reminded Bud. Yes, of course. Let's go, Bud agreed. Bud was looking much stronger and more like the Bud I remembered from his first visit with me. Bud insisted that the energy transverter be placed in special packaging to ensure it would not be jostled when we got on the bumpy dirt roads. At last we were ready and headed out for North Bend and eventually Hawaii. Bud seemed to be in a talkative mood, so I took advantage of the situation on our drive to the spaceship. You've mentioned several times about the branching point for Earth. I was hoping Bud could explain this a little clearer. But exactly what happens? I asked. You mean, what will the Earthlings perceive when this event occurs? Bud answered me with a question. Yeah, I mean, will there be like two planets all of a sudden looking at each other, or what? I was really puzzled. That was all I could imagine. No, Bud admonished me. It is not like that at all. Well, how will we know it's happening? I asked, getting more frustrated. As the time approaches, you will notice an increase in Earth changes. Bud enlightened me. You will start to notice global warming, increased volcanic and earthquake activity, more reports of comets and asteroids, things of that nature. Bud stopped and looked out the window, deep in thought. So when the split actually happens, he went on, some people will take the new branch and others will remain on the existing course. It all depends on each individual's vibration level. What you are saying is that the population will also branch, I remarked. Exactly, And precisely, Bud agreed. Well, those that survive the chaos will, anyway, he added. Once the split has completed, the Earth will evolve down 2 separate timelines, he went on to explain. The population on each planet will be totally unaware of the other, though it is possible some individuals may raise their consciousness and become aware of both worlds. I was deep in thought as I drove down I-90. This sounded like something from the X-Files or an adventure from a Superman bizarro comic book. The world as I once knew it was suddenly falling apart. To be continued.